In this video, we are going to talk about creating Pantone colors. We're going to talk about converting Pantone colors, sampling colors, converting RGB colors, and then creating color themes. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about creating Pantone colors. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm in InDesign, and I am going to place a document, an actual logo file, and I want you guys to watch and see what happens. So I'm going to go to place. I'm going to navigate my way to this .ai file. All right, and as you notice, as I click and drag and I put it in place, you're going to see that a color was brought in. And typically, this is what's going to happen when you bring in, especially logo files, because you're going to find that most companies have Pantone colors assigned to their logos. All right, so now I have this, and the color that came in was actually this color right here, which is the color of the word Marshaba. All right, so now that's the Pantone 7687, and it's a spot color because spot meaning it's a Pantone color. It has its own properties, so it's not part of the Cmyk process. And we're going to talk about adding Pantone colors and how it can dramatically affect the production of your job. But right now, let's say we have that darker blue, but I want to sample some of this lighter blue up here in the logo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my eyedropper, and I'm going to sample this color right here. And as you notice, it says it's going to create this vector graphic. It's an RGB proxy. All right, so that's it right here. Okay, I'm going to take it and I'm going to bring it down into my color swatch panel right here. All right, so that's that light blue color right there, and you can see whereas these other chips have the Cmyk, and this one has the 3 color bars, which and of course the designation, which lets you know that it is an RGB color profile. So what we need to do is to make this production ready, we want to convert the RGB to Cmyk, and that's not a problem. What you do, you double click on that color swatch. You'll see it comes up RGB. Click on this. You're going to click on this. Go up to Cmyk. That's the Cmyk coordinates right there. Make sure it's a process color. You say OK, and bingo. Now we have that right there. The next thing we want to do is we want to convert the spot color to a Cmyk process. So once again, we're going to double click on the Pantone. You can see right now it says spot. We'll say process. We'll say OK. And now you're going to see that these swatches have all been converted to a Cmyk color space. This icon just means that this is coming from somewhere else, so it's coming in from that Illustrator file, but they're all processed. So in other words, when this job goes to print, it's only going to print 4 colors, being cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And again, we're going to talk about the importance of that in a future video. The rare event that we may want to, you might have a client that says, we want to convert a Cmyk swatch into a Pantone swatch. And typically that's not what happens, but let's talk about how you can make it happen in InDesign. And in reality, it's going to be a 2-part process. The first thing we want to do is we want to take the image that has that color assignment in it, and we need to open it up in Photoshop so we can get some color values. So it just so happens that I have that image on my desktop. I'm going to take it right now. I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to open it up in Photoshop. Okay, so here we go. We can just make it 72 dpi. It's no big deal. RGB. We'll say OK. And what we're going to do is we're going to sample that color. So I click on it, and as you can see, I sampled that color. I'm going to open it up, and you can see it gives me the RGB. It gives me the hex numbers, Cmyk, the lab. It gives me all this information about this color, but it also has something else, and it's called the color library. So once we click on that, you can see that it's giving us a color that's very close to the color that we have, the CMYK value, which is the Pantone 2985. So we'll say OK. So now we know that. We can close this down. We don't need this anymore. We're not going to save anything. We're just going to close it down. We've committed that to memory. And what we're going to do now is we're going to convert that Cmyk to that Pantone swatch. So what we're going to do is we double click on that swatch. All right, we're going to go over to where it says process, and we're going to make that a spot color. Then we're going to click on Cmyk, drop down to where it says Pantone solid coated. And at this point, we're going to type in those numbers, 2985. All right, there's a color right there. We'll say OK, and it converted it to that color swatch. All right, so at least now we have an actual swatch value for this particular color. Now, what we need to do is when we're working with Pantone colors, and we're going to talk about the importance of making sure that all of your spot colors are converted to process in a future video. But you want to make sure that this first row right here is all grayed out. It's gray right here. As you can see, there's this one designation that is a spot color, which we just created. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert that. It's still going to have the 2985 designation, but we're going to make it a process color. So it only prints CMYK. So once again, we double click on that color. All right. And we're going to go up to where it says we have the actual Pantone listing. We're going to go up to Cmyk. There are the color breakdowns. All right, and then we're going to say process. We'll say OK, and now you can see everything will break out in the Cmyk color space. Working with color themes can be very, very helpful when you're doing a layout. Let's say, for example, if we take a look at our swatch panel right now, since we in an earlier video we actually got rid of some of these the stock colors that come they come with the application, boxed with the application. What we're going to do now is we have this graphic right here that has all of these wonderful colors in here, and we may want to incorporate some of these colors into some other graphics, whether it's type or objects that we place on the page. And working with the color theme will help us out in a major kind of way in order to get that done. So here's how that works. What you do is, if you go over to your eyedropper tool, you click, and then you're going to get this flyout menu, and you'll see you have the color theme tool. Let's click on that. And what you can do is, when you select the object that you want to sample, what it'll do is it'll give you quite a few options, complementary colors that you might be able to use for your design. And it'll also, if you click on this arrow right here, it'll give you the lights and some darks and some deep muted colors. So you have a whole array of colors that now you can incorporate into your design. So what we'll do is, if we, let's see, take this and we click, all right, we can add these swatches into a color theme that you can see right here that will add some of those colors into our palette that we can now use for our other items in our document. So let's say, for example, if now that we have the color theme in there, let's click on the type tool. Let's highlight, say this, my name right here. We can maybe make that a complementary color of blue for the outline, and then maybe we could use that brownish color on the fill. Let's take a look at that and see what that looks like. Okay, and or we can select a shape and we can actually put in another color, so that now we're actually using a lot of the complementary colors that are coming within this, that were sampled from this document, I'm sorry, from this graphic, and we're incorporating that into our layout. So we have something that looks like this now. So as you can see, working with the color theme is actually pretty cool if you're putting together a layout and you want to use some colors that are incorporated in a graphic that you imported into your document.